The American artist we choose to present is a well-known photojournalist named John H. White. He was born in 1945 in Lexington, in North Carolina, in the United States of America. John H. White was really inspired by his father, who was an African Methodist Episcopal minister. His father taught him a lot about life. He taught him to see the best in everything and everyone, and that you can change something simple into something beautiful. During his childhood, John H. White moved a lot, going from one country to another. This has taught him life lessons about the world. When White mentioned his father, he says, "He taught us about life, love and respect for humankind, which literally saved my life." This proves how important and inspiring his father was for him. For example, White was a slow student. He was once told by a teacher that he would grow up to be nothing more than a garbage man. His father comforted him by telling him that it was okay to be a garbage man, as long as he was the one driving the truck. His father taught him that the goal is to strive to be the best, no matter what the others tell you. John H. White bought his first camera at the age of 13 for 50 cents and 10 bubblegum wrappers. At first, he did not think of being a professional photographer. He started thinking about it once at college when he decided that photography was best and the simplest means of expression. He has studied applied science in commercial art and advertising design in Central Piedmont Community College in Charlotte in 1966. He started his career as a photographer in the Marine Corps. However, once he got back to the civilian life, he had a difficult time finding work. But in 1969, he was hired at the Chicago Daily News and moved to the Chicago Sun-Times in 1978, where he was a staff photographer. He went around the world for his work to capture historical moments, facing the danger sometimes to capture the perfect action. Not only was White a full-time photojournalist for the Chicago Sun-Times, but he was also a photo teacher and head of photojournalism department at Chicago's Columbia College, where he shared his experience with aspiring photojournalists. He was known for giving his students a taste of what real life as a photojournalist was like. In nearly 30 years as photojournalist, he has earned over 300 awards, including the prestigious Pulitzer Prize. He also won the award of the Photographer of the Year in 1972, 1973, 1975, and 1986, and the World Press Photo Competition in 1979. John H. White was the president of the Chicago Press Photographers Association from 1977 to 1978. He has made a lot of exhibitions, but one of his most famous is My People, a portrait of Afro-American culture in a Rockefeller Center in New York in 1991. John H. White considered his camera as his passport to the world. He visited Russia, South Africa, Europe, Mexico, Middle East, and Asia to capture historical moments. He was also involved in photo conferences all over the world, and he had the privilege to be one of the few Vatican-approved photographers to cover Pope John Paul II's 1979 visit to Mexico. To conclude this sport, White was known to be really good at capturing the action at the right moments.
So, to understand White's work, we need to go back to Chicago. John White had a strong history with Chicago because he started to work at the Chicago Daily News. He was actually one of the first African Americans to be employed by an American newspaper. Then he worked to the Chicago Sun-Times in 1978. A few years before, in 1974, he was asked by the Environmental Protection Agency to photograph Chicago's African American life for the Documerica project. So what is Documerica project? It's a photography study by through the 70s and the evolution of the American society. And John White was one of the 100 photographers who were asked to be a part of Documerica. His work for this project captured the struggle of the African American at the time. He focused mainly on the west and south sides of Chicago. Although Chicago is one of the most important stops of the African American migration from south states up to north, Chicago is a peculiar town for the African American community. In fact, a black town is building up within a white town with its own cultural areas, churches, press, etc. This is this town that John White captured with his photographs. He photographed dilapidated neighborhoods, such as on his picture Men Pose on a Side Street, published in May 1964. This is a perfect illustration of the black Chicago. We can see in the backyard the street is full of trash. The front windows of shops behind men seem old and not maintained. However, the two men seem to be cheerful and hold their fist as a sign of protest. Also, in the picture entitled Abandoned Building on 37th and Prairie Street, White kept the same topic. Ghettos in Chicago have been performed. On these photographs, one man is on an abandoned building. He's climbing it while a child is running along the road. Once again, the front window of the house is dilapidated and seems inhabited for days. Furthermore, the grass have grown up. Inhabitants of this yard say themselves they feel like their own town has been bombed. Soon, some half of the housing of some streets in Chicago have been shut down or sealed off since social riots of the end of the 60s. This led to borders between some white neighborhoods and some black neighborhoods. To finish, I chose a picture of a student at the Westinghouse Industrial Vocation School on Chicago's west side, from White. We can see on the picture a girl. She's an African American girl, and she's smiling. And White might have called this moment because he had hope for the black community in Chicago. However, Chicago is the incarnation of the working city with blue and white colors. Joblessness is an important part of the African American issues in Chicago. Most of them can't access executive jobs. So I think it's really a matter of, it's a message, in fact, for a better education and maybe later opportunities at work for the African American community that White wanted to show on this picture.
Hello guys, I will now present you 3 other pictures from John White. The first one is entitled Potel. It represents a child enjoying the rain, shows how much pleasure and happiness can be easy. As John White said, and I quote, "I see my photography as a simple mirror or reflection of life, a way of revealing the world to itself." So with Potel, John White wanted to show how much he was devoted to life and love,
Away from his political engagement, Pure Joy is an ode to daily life and simple pleasure. It's a black and white photography. John White did a lot of colored pictures, but also black and white, in order to embody his fight for the black community. In Pure Joy photography, the smile is really white, very remarkable. The drop of rain are very detailed, and we can almost feel it in our own skin. This photography just conveys happiness and pleasure to the audience. The second pictures that I want to present to you is a picture of Muhammad Ali. Actually, Muhammad Ali and John White became very close friends. At first, it was just for professional reason. John White was supposed to take picture of Ali, but at the end, they became very close friend. John White followed for a couple years in the late 70s Ali, both inside and outside the ring and around Chicago, and he learned a lot with Ali. He said that he is the most focused person that he ever known. He is precision focused, White said. In this picture, the feelings are really hard to catch. We don't know if Ali is astonished or afraid again his enemies. As John said, Ali can't be captured in a photograph, but actually he succeeded to capture Ali feelings, and it's a feeling that the audience is not used to know about Ali. Ali is the best boxer in the world, the best fighter, but here in these pictures he's really frightened or astonished, or we don't know. All the feelings are in the eyes, and this picture is really catching and really strong because of this look. The third picture is a picture of Nelson Mandela in his house in South Africa. The picture was taken in the 90s, and it's the first lunch of Nelson Mandela after 27 years spent in jail. This picture shows how much white was in the center of the news. At the previous picture of Muhammad Ali, he was always following people, very important people that are in the center of the news. As he said, he's a photojournalist. He had a front seat to history. So each time that an important news came out, John White was here for the Chicago Post. This picture represents a man in his daily life habits, making coffee. It's again a black and white photo, but what is really touching is that Mandela is finally home. He's also tired and relieved, sorry. And that's why it's important. John White was always catching important moment of history and convey emotion.